Okay. So, hi everyone, welcome to the second pathway session. Just want to introduce my colleagues and friends, Gary Irwin-Kenyon, Ashley King, and Daphne Noonan. And together we're going to take you through these next 30 minutes, very short 30 minutes, which are just focused on self-care for care professionals. And for us, we think that self-care is a foundation from which you're able to then provide lasting and better person-centered care. So this is really important. Maybe it's only just these 30 minutes in the month that you have the time to think about self-care. Hopefully not. Hopefully the session where Gary guides us through the stillness exercises and some wise words on the subject, the frameworks and the tools that Ashley and Daphne introduce, I hope you can incorporate them into your daily lives and think about self-care using stillness, using person-centered practices more often for yourself through the month ahead. So as I say, it's just 30 minutes. So everything we introduce is very simple, practical, concrete. And through the sessions, we're going to reinforce, build, repeat, so that on each of these topics, we go deeper and deeper. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand over to Gary now, who's going to take us through the stillness block.
Thank you, Rahzeb, and great to be here again. Welcome, everybody. In this series, I invite you to expand the story you're living and to discover that stillness really works. In each session, I'll begin by speaking about what stillness is and why it's so vital to our lives. And then I will invite you to join me in a stillness practice. So let's begin by exploring what we can say about stillness. In the first session, we looked at how we are accustomed to doing, controlling, fixing, managing problems. Doing has a big role to play in our lives. However, when pushed too far, we respond with fight, flight, or freeze. We experience anxiety, fear, and distress. These days, we are all being pushed way beyond our limits as we try to do the right thing as caring people professionally and personally. However, the result increasingly is burnout, mental, physical, and spiritual. As the pandemic continues, many of us are realizing that we cannot do it all and we can't do it alone. We need the support of each other. We need something more, and that is to bring stillness into our lives, which you could call our being mode. And that contains compassion, self-compassion, letting go, yielding, being aware of limits, and where joy, love, happiness, and gratitude originate. So stillness practice brings us to the present moment where there is space, rest, and peace. You can give yourself permission to be tired, to grieve, and to smell the roses, and also to seek help. Stillness practice slows what's called in Tai Chi the monkey mind, or the thinking mind, and it creates an opening or a space for a larger story of how you can be in your world. It's a bit paradoxical because stillness is an experience and not a thought. Ideas and language, as people like Eckhart Tolle would say, are signposts that point you to the experience. It's easier said than done, but all you need to do to find stillness is to show up and let go. Many of us arrive at the willingness to embrace stillness in times like these, either personally or professionally, or globally, after we have tried everything else. We're tired and we don't know what to do next. So all we need to do again is to let go to find stillness. And when we let go, there is nothing there. Hopefully stillness will be there for you. I don't know why it is that way in our human nature, but that seems to be that we often find stillness in suffering. It's a core, stillness is a core kind of care. It's as important as eating, putting a roof over our heads, or seeking medical care. It's that important to us. The different pathways to stillness can be seen as refuges or oases from people, places, and things, and including some of our thoughts and emotions, or generally you could say from busyness. These pathways may be formal or informal. Formal pathways include things like yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, which is what we're doing today. And informal pathways can be many things, and you can personalize them. You could explore your past and present activities that give you rest or joy, that are fun. Something like as simple as a good meal, a hug from a friend when you're allowed to give that hug. Or even as another Deepak Chopra says, go and pet your cat. Allow yourself to imagine or wander like a child. All these practices short circuit the monkey mind. You could say it's a healthy circuit breaker. And all you need to do is make this a part of your day, a vital part of your day, and stillness will be there for you little by little. Examples of pathways can be anything that gets you out of your monkey mind. Your breath is an immediate pathway. Nature is a wonderful pathway. When you're in nature, try just to stop and use your senses to let nature speak to you. Be the witness or the observer rather than trying to analyze the object that you're looking at. For a tree, for example, instead of just walking by the tree and continuing on your way, just stop and let it speak to you. See how it feels. Notice the parts of the tree maybe. Leaves, branches, trunk, bark. Go and touch the tree. I'm one of those folks that probably don't want to do it when others are looking, but hugging a tree, I agree, can be a very pleasant experience. There's just something about the stillness and the strength in the tree. Science is telling us a lot about this now as well. This is what the movements I'm offering you today will do. What I call relax into stillness movements. They're a gateway or a portal to stillness, and they can help you relax yourself so you will look for other personalized pathways. And I have more guidelines for this process in my book, Pathways to Stillness, Relax, Release, and Renew. At this point, I'd like to ask you to join me in a stillness practice based on Tai Chi. We need to keep it simple, so speaking for myself, I will practice more often. It's important to have no expectations from this practice, as that just ends up being more doing. Stillness comes and goes kind of on its own, and you don't need to get anything right. There's nothing to achieve, just be with it and relax. If you don't have any time, try stealing a couple of minutes for yourself. And that's all it takes is a couple of minutes to get this opening up a little bit. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you have time for. It's best to practice for a short time more often, but whatever works for you is okay. You may try one or both of the movements that I'm going to show you. Again, whatever works for you without creating more stress in your life. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist meditation teacher, says that if you really have no time, you need to practice twice, not once. And the idea is, I think, that you think that you're wasting your time and doing nothing by stopping and breathing or moving softly. But paradoxically, you may find that you can do more with less energy and more focus by doing these practices. In the following sessions, I'll repeat these movements and provide you with additional guidelines. If you follow the series, you'll deepen your understanding, as Rahzeb was pointing out, of the practice, but you will not lose out on anything if you're here for the first time. You may practice the movements from either a standing or seated position. As you relax, you hopefully will feel some stillness, relaxation. Relaxation is the first sign, but there's no timetable. we all have different bodies, minds, and spirits, and you just have to trust that the stillness will be there for you. So as I say, you can do this standing up or sitting down. I'm going to stand up now and just move my chair out, and then I'll lead you through the movements. So in Tai Chi, we talk about movement in stillness and stillness in movement. And the first movement that I want to show you is movement in stillness. So we're actually standing still and or sitting, and you want to soften your knees, drop your hips a little bit. And the reason for doing that is you want to feel the stress in your thighs, not your lower back. You shouldn't feel anything in your lower back. And then have your shoulders, we're going to do the first one with our hands on our belly. So just forget that one for a minute. Put your tongue lightly at the roof of your mouth, and then put one thumb in your navel and your palm below it, and then put the other hand on top of that. And then what we're going to do is just try to press gently under the belly as you breathe in. Eyes open or closed, it's up to you, once you can see the movement. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, gently let your stomach expand. Okay, so just try to relax everything. Press in, don't overdo it to pull any muscles, just gently. Press in, breathe up, and then relax as you breathe out, let your tummy relax. Okay, try it again, just take your time. Press in underneath. And relax the tummy as you breathe out. A couple more. You can take as full a breath as is comfortable. You'll find as you practice these movements, your breath will deepen on its own the more you relax. Let's try one more with this. In and relax your tummy as you breathe out. Good. And now move your arms to your side and gently make a soft fist with your hand, just a soft fist at the side. Now again, with your arms open or closed, or your eyes, open or closed, we're just going to follow the breath in and out. We don't have our hand there anymore, but just try to picture the breath coming in from that area, from below the navel. Just natural, breathing in and out at your own speed. Okay, then go up around your forehead and your eyes and breathe into that area. Picture your breath going into that area and relaxing your forehead and your eyes. Couple breaths. And then go down to your mouth and jaw. You might want to let your mouth fall open a little bit to relax the jaw. And picture the breath coming into that area, mouth and jaw area. And then move to your heart. Heart center is not technically where your heart is, but in the center of your body at the heart level. And just picture your breath coming into that area. Couple more breaths on your own speed. And then go back to below the stomach again and put the attention in that area. Breathe in and out a couple of times. Very good. The next one we're going to do, the second movement, is called the wave. So you want to have the same positioning. Again, if you're seated, you don't have to worry about your legs, but you soften your knees, Drop your hips a bit. Put your tongue lightly at the roof of the mouth. And this time, just turn your palms out and put a little energy into your palms. Not rigid, but put a little energy in there. And then relax your elbows. Keep them soft a little bit. And relax your shoulders. Try not to raise your shoulders. And what we're going to do is take a nice breath. About shoulder height. Turn your palms over and float back down as you breathe out. So this is stillness in movement. Breathe in, palms up, turn over, and float back down as you breathe out. Don't run out of breath while you're doing this. If you need to take another breath, just do that. And just gently trying to coordinate your breath with the movement of your arms. And breathing in, come up, shoulder height. Turn over, a little energy in your hands. Float back down. And let's do a couple more. Breathe in. Turn over. Float back down. One more time. Breathe in. Over. Float back down. So you may notice that you're being brought to the present moment by gently paying attention to your breath and gently coordinating the movement. That all brings you, and plus we're trying to relax. So that brings you to the present moment. Now you may not relax so much when you first learn these movements. My teacher used to say, keep telling us to relax, and we just learned the movement. So it's pretty hard to relax. But just try it a few times and you'll find very quickly you will get relaxed. So thank you very much, and namaste, and back to you, Rahzeb.
Thanks so much, Gary. That was great, really wonderful. Before I hand over to Ashley, I wanted to do a small check. I wanted to ask everybody who's joined today a question, whether, if you have the intention to try out some of the exercises that Gary just guided us through in the next 4 weeks before the next session, could you go to the chat and just type in yes? So if you're feeling shy, you could send that message to me or the panelists only. And if you think, oh yeah, I'm just going to send it to everybody, let's just have a look. And I'll just give a percentage at the end, roughly what percent of people said, yes, I'm going to try it. Okay, so I would say about 60%. All right. Now, if you join next time, I'll ask again, and you'll just check back with yourself to see whether you actually did follow through on the intention that you now have. All right. Thank you. Ashley, now over to you. Ashley's going to take us through, she's going to connect self-care and person-centered practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Rahzeb, and thank you so much, Gary. I feel like I'm well prepared to jump on the session now. So if you attended our last webinar or had the opportunity to listen to the recording, Daphne talked us through a narrative exercise where we were asked to imagine a past home. What we saw as we approached that home, walked through the door, took a little look around. We identified who we saw, what we smelled when we went through that home, and the emotions that walking through that home evoked in us. So in doing this, we felt for ourselves the power of that sense of home for us, but also connecting it to our residents, and that sense of belonging that home brings, as well as the memories and the feelings and the narrative that we associate with those experiences and how deep, deep, deep seated they are. such an exercise can help us to better take moments to emphasize and empathize really with our elders within our homes. During these turbulent times, these quick and easy exercises, and you can go back to the recording if you'd like a refresher, or if you didn't have a chance to listen. These quick and easy exercises help us to reframe so that we can reconnect with the core values and practices of person-centered care. Laura Gilpin, often one of her famous quotes is, "It's not rocket science." And so really reconnecting with the values and practices of person-centered care identifies that it's not rocket science. And what we want to enable within our daily work schedules, and for those of us who are leading within organizations, how we further build person-centered care and culture into our organizations. So I will pass it over to Daphne, and she's going to talk us through a simple person-centered planning exercise, again with you and I and our own self-care in mind, so that we think a little bit about personally what we want to do for self-care and the coming new year, which we often see as a reset, both personally and professionally. So I'll turn it over to you, Daphne.
Thanks, Ashley. So hi, everyone. I'm just going to jump right into this exercise so we can have lots of time to practice it. I'm just going to go back to the word that Rahzeb used a few moments ago, which is the word intention. And so many of us, I think it's been another busy year that we've had, and we're winding down. It's so hard to believe in the year 2021. And many of us are starting to, whether it be calmly think about or kind of maybe a little bit anxiously, we're beginning to think about next year, in our work lives and in our personal lives. So today I'm going to start us with an exercise in setting intention. And it is a little bit about the beginnings of goals, but really all goals, I firmly believe, start with intention. And sometimes there's something very powerful just in writing something down and setting it as an intention, and almost by magic, it begins to sort of take shape in your life. So the first part of this exercise we're going to do today, it's going to span over 2 weeks. So today we want to get you to focus in on goals that are personal to you and to your own self-care. So we're going to be looking at 4 categories throughout this exercise, and I'll just kind of overview each category now, and then I'm going to give you some space when I'm finished just explaining them a little bit to let you kind of focus quietly on these 4 areas. So the first category is we'd like you to think and reflect for a moment about things that you might want to keep doing in the year ahead for yourself. So your own self-care, your own well-being. So that means, for example, if you've been doing a really good job setting out a monthly budget this past year, and you want to keep doing that because you find that it's really helping with your overall well-being. That's something like that. The second category is things that you want to do more of. So maybe something that you had all the best of intentions at the beginning of 2021, say to commit to a regular exercise routine, and you just haven't been doing it quite as consistently. So things that you may want to focus on doing a little bit better, I guess, do more of that thing. So the third category is we want you to focus on things that you would like to stop doing. So things that you in your life, maybe habits or projects or commitments that you feel are no longer really serving you in terms of your own self-care. So it could be, perhaps stopping eating fast food would be an example, or maybe, winding up a volunteer commitment that might be taking a lot of time, and perhaps you feel like it's time for a new chapter. And so number 4 are things that you want to start doing. So something that you really, really feel that you would like to begin to make space in for your life, because you know it will help you with your overall wellness. So for example, beginning to do some daily affirmations or some regular stillness exercises based on what Gary is sharing with us in the course. So I hope I've done a good job explaining. And then so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you permission here in a moment to just take 2 quiet minutes to yourself to jot down some ideas in each of those 4 categories. And Rahzeb's going to leave them up on the screen. So I'm going to time it. I don't want anyone to overthink anything. Just want you to look at those 4 categories, and actually a shorter time frame, so 2 minutes, is actually better for something like this, because then we don't use our thinking brains too much. We're kind of tapping into our intuition a little bit about what is the most powerful thing that we want to set intentions for. So I'm going to get you to start that now, and I've got my timer on. Okay, so 2 minutes goes by fast when you're having fun, I know. So I'm going to stop there, and I'll just maybe conclude my portion of today by suggesting to each of you who participated in that last exercise, just simply take the reflections with you of those items that you just wrote down. And perhaps over the next 2 weeks, when you have time, if you create an intentional action to look at that list a couple of times, maybe once daily or something, if you can, maybe set a reminder on your phone, just to kind of pull out the list, and don't feel pressure to do anything with it. Just maybe reviewing it, and you might find that just it's very powerful in the simple act of putting those thoughts top of mind, how it might begin to affect a gradual transformation in your daily habits without you even realizing it. I know for me, this is an exercise that I often do. It's a very quick and easy way for me personally in my toolkit, just to kind of help me feel a bit more grounded when I'm feeling overwhelmed with I'm sure all of you can agree that there are often way too many items on our to-do list, and it's just a good way for me personally to feel a bit more grounded. So the next time we meet, we're going to do the same exercise, but we're going to apply it to our work lives in long-term care or healthcare. Okay, so back to you, Rahzeb.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. That's great, really. Okay, so just to wrap up, on Monday, we'll send an email with a time-stamped video of this session, so you can just jump to the bits that you most want to look at. I think it's a really good idea, what Ashley just mentioned, to resend the exercise where Daphne talks us through envisioning a past home. It's a very powerful and pointed exercise where we just tap into our imagination, memories, emotions around that. So we'll share that. And we'll also share the 4 questions at the same time. I'm conscious that we're running over time, so I just mentioned that the next session is in 4 weeks from now on the 16th of December, and you'll also receive an invite that you can just add to your calendar in a couple of days. Okay. Thanks so much for joining today. I hope you found it useful and helpful.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to seeing you again soon.
Indeed.